Welcome to the Vital Spirit podcast. I'm Dr. Kelly Livingston, a naturopathic physician and your guide to a new health reality, one that connects body, mind, and spirit. Together, we'll dive deep into the art and science of holistic healing. Through working with hundreds of women through midlife transitions, I've discovered something profound. Most of our physical and emotional challenges are rooted in a maladaptive stress response. And true healing begins when we regulate our nervous system. Each episode will explore complex health topics in simple, empowering ways, uncover the deeper wisdom within each of us, and share practical tools for nervous system regulation to help you awaken your vital force and create lasting wellness. So, if you're ready to reconnect with yourself, your health, and your purpose, let's begin this journey together so you can experience life more fully human and deeply healed. Welcome back to the Vital Spirit podcast. I'm Dr. Kelly Livingston. If you're new to the show, last episode we explored midlife as a gateway to your health awakening. Today, we're diving deeper into the guiding philosophies of naturopathic medicine, the blueprint for how we create lasting wellness and healing. I want to share the depth of knowledge behind these frameworks, not just because they've transformed my life and my health journey and my practice and my patients' lives, but because I believe they hold the key to creating lasting, sustainable health for everyone. Whether you're navigating your own healing journey at midlife or beyond, or maybe you're a practitioner supporting patients or clients on their journey, I'm so glad that you're here. Let's talk about why philosophy matters in healing. So before I jump into the naturopathic principles and the therapeutic order, I want to share the fact that the thing that drew me most to this as a career was actually the 6 principles of naturopathic medicine. I was working as a medical assistant in a surgeon's office, and I still refer patients to this surgeon. He's wonderful. I just really knew from that experience that that was not the type of medicine that I wanted to practice. And so I was working for a surgeon. I had graduated with a psychology degree and a minor in philosophy. And I had focused a lot on depth psychology, personality psychology, and bioethics, so how we make decisions in medicine. And long story short, I was working at New York State Psychiatric Institute as a research assistant, and I decided, I don't only want to do psychology, I really want to know more about human beings' bodies and the physical aspect of it. And so I decided I really thought that the way I would heal or help heal humans was by going to conventional medical school. So here I am as this medical assistant, and I'm just realizing it's not the right fit for all of the things that I pictured myself doing with patients, these theoretical patients I had in my mind at the time. And so the audiologist there introduced me to naturopathic medicine. I remember so very clearly still reading the 6 principles and knowing that is what I'm supposed to do. I knew it on a cellular level, like in my bones. There was no doubt. I reached out to the University of Bridgeport College of Naturopathic Medicine. I had moved back here after college, and I pretty much was enrolled as soon as I possibly could. As I go through these today, I might get more excited about philosophy than you do, but I really want you to start to think about how you can apply these principles, how you can look at your health journey through the lens of these principles. And as I share the therapeutic order, start to think about what foundational things you can work on, because I guarantee that it's a different way of looking at your health. It's a different paradigm. And when I found out that it was available to me to practice this way, it just changed my outlook on everything, essentially. So I'm so excited to share more with you today. And I really, really ask that you just think back and reflect back on the way that you've looked at your body, your health, medicine in general, and start to maybe reframe some of the beliefs that you have about healing as we talk today. When I was training as a naturopathic doctor, one of the things that I found was so profound is just that if you create the conditions for health, then disease cannot exist. And this idea is at the heart of naturopathic medicine. But what does this really mean? Let's unpack that a little bit. So in today's world, we're so used to a quick fix, right? We're used to a pill for every ill. But naturopathic medicine really offers a different path. And it is one that starts with understanding the body's natural intelligence and working with it, not against it. The body is innately intelligent and organized. It knows how to heal. It knows how to come to homeostasis. It knows what it needs to do. We just need to not get in its way. When you're working through the therapeutic order, essentially this is a roadmap for creating the conditions for health. This is a roadmap for symptom relief and not suppression. So whether you're addressing a specific symptom or supporting long-term wellness or navigating burnout and midlife challenges, this is a roadmap that you can follow where you are essentially creating the conditions for health and you're removing any obstacles to cure. When you are cultivating a healing process, disease cannot exist because you're working with the body and not against it. So what are those 6 principles of naturopathic medicine that I was so drawn to and just so knew on a deep level that I was meant to practice? Well, let's start with them. They really guide every decision that I make with a patient, that I make in my practice, from the first consultation or interaction with a patient through each phase of care. I think they actually inform every decision that I make now, how I parent, how I show up as a family member or a friend, how I think about problems that arise in a day. So again, just start to put on your naturopathic philosophy lens and think through some of your health concerns as we go through these principles. So the first principle is to do no harm. First, do no harm. That might not sound surprising, but there's actually even more to that. So we always start with and use the least invasive methods first. So we want to minimize harm and we want to maximize your body's natural healing processes. We want to turn those on. So this is the principle that guides every step of the therapeutic order, okay? It is not just about using natural tools. It is about starting with the least invasive methods first and turning on that healing process, which leads to the healing power of nature, vis medicatrix naturae. So your body has an inherent self-healing process. We're going to talk all about the vis and vital spirit and vital force in another episode, but that's essentially what we're talking about here. So my role as a naturopath is to support this process by removing obstacles to cure and supporting the body's natural ability to heal. So if you think about when you cut your skin and your skin knows how to heal, your wound knows how to heal, the same intelligence is at work in every system of the body as long as we create the right conditions. So if you keep wounding yourself, it's not going to heal. Or if you don't have enough of the ingredients for your skin to heal, you don't have enough collagen, for example, you're not going to heal. But if you provide the body with the tools that it needs, the body knows what to do. It's innately intelligent, organized, and it's self-directed toward healing. You just have to get out of its way. And then that leads us to identifying the causes. So as we're looking for these root causes, or what are the things that might be getting in the way of the body healing, or what are some of the things that are creating an environment that the body can't heal in, we need to look at symptoms as messengers. Symptoms are really clues pointing us to an underlying issue. They're not the thing that we want to suppress, even though there might be times where we're using natural tools for symptom management. The real goal is to listen to those symptoms and figure out where they're pointing you. What are they trying to tell you? So if you remember Anne from our first episode, and we were talking about how she had low energy, right? She was fatigued. Well, I'm not just going to give Anne a stimulant because it'll give her more energy. I'm going to ask, does Anne have low iron? What's her B12 status? Does Anne have a thyroid issue? Has she been sleeping? Does Anne have nervous system dysregulation? Because finding the root cause is essential. It's so key to knowing how to address the symptom and regain health. In that process of looking for root causes and identifying and treating the cause, a lot of the work that we do as naturopaths is as a teacher. So doctor as teacher is actually the 4th principle. And that's why I'm here today. So education is such a cornerstone of naturopathic care. My goal is never to just help a patient solve a problem. My goal is actually to teach you how your body works, so that you know what to do in that situation if it arises again, to teach you how your body works so that you can prevent a health issue from arising. I really, really want patients to know what their labs mean, to understand the physiology of their body, the anatomy of their body, even the biochemistry. And it doesn't have to be super boring. I try to use fun, silly analogies, and I'll do that with you guys here. But one of the most rewarding things for me is when a patient says, "Oh my gosh, Dr. Kelly, I understand what's going on." Or I'll often hear two things I love to hear. One is that they call me after they had a health issue, maybe like a sinus infection, for example. And they say, "I knew what to do, Dr. Kelly. I didn't even need you." I love that. And then also I'll often hear, "I have printed out your protocol and your plan you wrote up and some of the notes. And I just went back and I did the thing we did before." And they know how to treat something themselves. So my goal is for you to know how to take care of your body and your mind, body, and your mind, body, and spirit, essentially. And that brings me to treating the whole person, because this is the fifth principle. And it's not just about the physical body. I very often start with the physical body and looking for root causes there. But when you're treating the whole person, you're looking at mental, emotional, spiritual, you're asking about relationships, you're looking at the environment that person lives in. So treating the whole person is really when true healing happens versus just treating parts. Additionally, when we're treating the whole person, we're looking at how we're not reductionistic thinking. We're not separating into separate organ systems that are all isolated. We're looking at how they're all communicating and relating to one another and creating an environment for healing or not. And then that leads to the last, prevention. So a lot of the work that I do with patients is about prevention, optimal health. So creating a life of vitality and wellness so you can feel your best now and as you move forward in the future, so that you can be present for your family, for your friends, so that you can fulfill your goals above and beyond just a healthy body. I really, truly love seeing the vitality in patients provide an environment for their spirit to thrive, for, what Jung called individuation, which I'm sure we'll get to in another episode. But if you're struggling with a mental, physical, emotional symptom, essentially that can hold you back from fulfilling the life that you were meant to live, or finding your purpose and being able to act on it. So I absolutely love working with patients on removing those physical, mind, body, mental, emotional obstacles so that they can essentially experience everything that they've wanted to in life, and they're not held back by a disease or a symptom anymore. So now that you understand some of the guiding principles of naturopathic medicine, we can move on to the therapeutic order. You can think about this as a framework for healing. So it gives us a framework or a roadmap that we can use to guide each patient's healing process. And it really does help us to choose the least invasive but most effective interventions first. So I'm going to walk you through each step of these, and I'll put in the show notes an image that can help you. And it's essentially the image of a pyramid. And so as I walk you through this therapeutic order today, I want you to picture the image of a pyramid. And so essentially at the bottom or at the base of the pyramid is going to be removing obstacles to health. So remember, we have to create conditions for health. And therefore, when we create those conditions for health, disease can no longer occur, right? So what is at the base of that pyramid that's removing obstacles to health? As we move on from the naturopathic principles and we talk about the therapeutic order for healing, I want you to think about this as a roadmap guiding you in the healing process. And this therapeutic order, you can picture it as a pyramid. So we're going to start at the base or the bottom of the pyramid, and we're going to work our way through this roadmap or guide to healing. The goal of this roadmap is to use the least invasive but most effective tools and remedies and strategies first, essentially providing the foundation for healing. When I explain this to patients, I sometimes use the terms work your way up the pyramid, which is not quite accurate because you may use tools from multiple levels of the pyramid, but essentially you will always start with creating the foundations for healing or the foundations for health, those conditions for health in which disease cannot occur. So step one at that foundational level is removing the obstacles to health. So poor diet, stress, lack of sleep, exposure to toxic environmental triggers, all of these are going to be part of our foundations of health. So for Anne, we did talk about whether or not she was sleeping. Remember, she had low energy. Well, if you're not sleeping, you're not providing a foundation for health that could even alleviate that symptom of low energy, right? So before we address anything deeper, we're trying to give the body the tools that it needs by just providing healthy diet, healthy lifestyle. I call this my seeds of health, which I will walk you guys through and give you even more detailed tips, strategies, detailed instructions in some cases on how to water those seeds. So for example, food as medicine or diet is one of the seeds of health. But as you're creating the optimal healing environment, you're essentially watering these seeds over time. And there will be certain things that won't get better just from a healthy diet and lifestyle. But as you move through the therapeutic order, you are consistently taking care of those foundational pieces. The next step is that you're stimulating the body's self-healing mechanisms. Remember, the body wants to heal. The body has the tools to heal. Your skin's going to heal after a cut. So when we're stimulating the self-healing mechanisms, that might be things like breath work, acupuncture. I might use homeopathy. I'm going to use energy medicines when I feel like the vital force of that person maybe doesn't have the ability to turn on and heal as well at that stage of their healing process. So I might use some energy remedies to kind of help awaken that vital force a bit. And we're certainly, again, looking at things that might be preventing that healing from occurring. And then next is strengthening weakened systems. So certain targeted therapies like botanical medicine, like nutraceuticals, we might utilize to really strengthen weakened systems. So gut health might be an example, although I believe all healing starts in the gut. I might actually be giving nutrients to support the microbiome. Maybe I'm giving a probiotic based on some lab work that we looked at, right? So I'm stimulating and strengthening weakened systems. Next is correcting structural integrity. So this might mean a chiropractic adjustment. It might mean craniosacral work or therapeutic movement. There might be an anatomical limitation that's preventing healing. There might be something that needs to be corrected to allow for the nervous system to be in a healing state. Those would all fall under this correcting structural integrity. Next, we're using natural therapies to potentially address a disease or a pathology, right? So sometimes we are going to use more potent natural therapies than other times. We might move from maybe supporting thyroid health with nutrients to utilizing glandulars, for example. But we're doing this all while we're working on the root cause, and we're still watering those seeds of health and those foundational pieces. So as I'm working on the foundational pieces, I'm addressing diet and lifestyle, and I'm looking for root causes in labs, and maybe I'm starting to use botanical medicine, herbs, homeopathy, maybe some hands-on craniosacral therapy. As I'm working up that pyramid, essentially, I might get to the place where a pharmaceutical intervention is needed. Now, as a naturopathic doctor, it depends on what state you're practicing in, whether or not you prescribe. Our scope of practice in Connecticut, I do not prescribe. So I've gotten really good at the first 5 levels of that therapeutic order because essentially I don't go beyond it personally. I refer out when patients need that. It doesn't mean that you won't need a pharmaceutical. There's a time and a place, but it means that you've worked on the foundational pieces first. In some other states, naturopaths can prescribe. And so we were trained in prescriptions, but it depends state by state what your scope of practice looks like. So if you're working with someone in a different state, you might find that you are prescribed a thyroid medication or something else that's indicated in your case, but you're still working on those foundational pieces. You're still figuring out root causes. You're still talking about watering your seeds of health. And then finally, at the top of the pyramid, if you will, is when you're using high force intervention. So this is things like surgeries, prescriptions, removing something from the body, chemotherapy and radiation in the case of cancer. Again, there's a time and a place. I'm not saying you would not utilize some of those things if you have a tumor in your body, that would be an obstacle to cure. So there is a time and a place where you might utilize those. But that's a more high force intervention that would be done later on after you've put work into the foundational pieces. And the thing that I find the most beautiful about this therapeutic order is that it really does respect the body's natural intelligence. And by using gentle interventions first, you can actually watch the healing process occur. It's so amazing to me when I watch the healing process unfold, and I'll have another episode on the order of healing in the sense of what does it look like as a patient heals. Because when you have this framework of a philosophical foundation, you have principles that you understand and know and work with, and you have a therapeutic order guiding you, it gives you the confidence to help patients through journeys that can sometimes be uncomfortable, can be confusing, can feel overwhelming. It allows you to confidently say to them, this is what we do next. This is the phase that we're in. And I can guide you through that and know that we'll make it to the other side of this healing journey together. So I want you to have some practical takeaways from our conversation this week. And first, I want you to think about your health journey and reflect on what some of the obstacles to cure might be. If you think about what conditions you need to have for health, we mentioned some of them. So making good food choices, prioritizing hydration, making sure you're getting enough sleep, moving your body. Patients typically know what they should be doing. Most people know what's healthy, what's good for you to do. Just start thinking about what some of the reasons might be that are holding you back from doing those things and making those healthy choices for yourself, whether it's time or motivation, and just start to really think through the therapeutic order a little bit. Think about what you could be providing your body so that it has the conditions for health and not the conditions of disease. How can you create those conditions for health more this week, maybe? So maybe drink some more water, take a walk out in nature, maybe practice a few minutes of deep breathing. You can go back to episode 1 and practice some of the breath work that we talked about in episode 1. And if you're a practitioner, think about how you can use the therapeutic order to guide your care. Are you starting with the least invasive? Are you asking Anne, who's tired, if she's getting enough sleep before recommending a stimulant, for example? So start thinking through that therapeutic order and reflect back on some of the principles of naturopathic medicine. And mainly one that I think is really important to remember is that if you work with the body, it knows how to heal versus working against it. And maybe think of ways in the past where you might have worked against the body or suppressed a symptom that was trying to tell you something. I'm so glad that you joined us today. And next time, we're going to dive deeper into the connection between hormonal imbalances, stress, and the nervous system, and what you can do to support your body at midlife and beyond. So if this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Dr. Kelly Livingston and at The Vital Spirit Method. Together, we're creating a space for empowerment, healing, and knowledge. And I'm so glad that you're here.